welcome to our, well, I want to say 14th episode of Sketchnoting for Distance Learning. Well, this is episode number 14. We kind of went back in numbers because we skipped 14 yesterday.
It's okay. The time is all different right now. Doesn't matter.
So this webinar is Intro to Sketchnoting for Distance Learning. And I will be your host today. I'm Jenna Picata. I'm an academic technology specialist. And I'm here with...
My name's Abby Almerito, and I'm also an academic technology specialist.
So today I'm just going to share some tips about sketchnoting and get you to play some games so that we can start to build our creative confidence. So in order to do some of these, I would love it if you would grab something to write with. It could be digital pencil and digital paper, or it could be actual pencil and paper, or if you have any markers or anything in front of you, if you can grab that. I would love for you to join along. So let's see. Yay, I'm glad that we have some people here to participate. Actually, those of you who are out there, do you mind introducing yourself and maybe saying something that you are excited about today or thankful for? Jen, Barb, are you out there?
I'll do it. I am Barb.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, now I can't.
You want sorry. To go? Am I going or is Jen going?
I was letting you go, Barb. Go ahead.
I'm Barb Flores, and I'm the coordinator for ELA, ELD, and literacy at the county office, Santa Clara County office. Oh, and something that brings me joy or thankful for. Actually, you know, I was just thinking I'm truly thankful for Abby and Jenna. They've been doing a fabulous job with these webinars. I'm truly thankful for them because I know they've been doing a lot more than they probably thought they were going to be doing at the beginning. So I just want to do a shout out for them.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, my turn now? Okay. I'm Jen Much, Science Coordinator at SCCOE, and I apologize for not getting on more of these webinars, but and I'm excited because I've been talking to Jenna a lot about sketchnoting and wanting to connect it to science, and so that's what I'm excited about today. So
yay! So maybe we can start to think about how we can connect this with science and language arts, and actually sketchnoting is great for any content area. So I'm glad that you're here today, both of you. And then we have one other person. I don't know if you want to share. Oh, we have a couple of other people. If anybody else would like to share a thought, they are welcome to.
So I'm Maria Flaherty, and I'm from Southern California. I saw the link on Jen's Twitter feed, and unlike her, I'm hoping to connect sketchnoting to science. I think it makes students think a little bit more, so I'm hoping to enhance my confidence with your presentation today.
Yay, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
And there's April. April is a sister from another district that I like to consider her as. So April, you just popped in. We are introducing ourselves and saying one thing that we're interested in sketchnoting or we're grateful for.
Hi, thanks for having me, Abby. I love keeping contact with my California folks. I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and I work for Avid. And we're just looking at different tools to continue to help our teachers connect with our kids. And so I'm excited about that opportunity to learn from you all.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for sharing, everybody. So if you don't already have a piece of paper and a drawing tool, make sure you get one. And I'm just going to give like a brief overview of sketchnoting. Normally when I go into the classroom and I ask students if they've ever heard of sketchnoting, most of them really haven't, but it pretty much is exactly what it sounds like. It's taking notes and adding sketches to them. And one of my favorite people out there is Doug Neal, and he has created verbal to visual. So he has a website, he has a YouTube channel, and he's created a sketchnoting in the classroom course if you're interested. But I have a link to this video here. I'm not going to play it, but basically what he says sketchnoting is that it's a customized note-taking process, and it's for the person who loves to doodle to the person who loves words and everybody in between. So really sketch notes can be customized to whatever you're really comfortable with. So if you're not comfortable drawing, and maybe at first you're not going to be comfortable drawing, that's okay. He has videos on how you can sketchnote with just words only. And so the more that I do sketchnoting in the classroom with students, I think the more that I find that they really appreciate the fact that you're giving them choice in the way that they get to take their notes and share their thinking. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips, and then after each of the tips I'm going to pause and have time to reflect on a question. So my first tip is everyone can draw. So no matter who you are out there, you can draw. Even if you say that you are a horrible and the worst artist, I know that you can draw. And when I go into the classroom, I always refer them to the 5 basic elements that Mike Rohde points out in his book, the Sketchnote Handbook. Now, Mike Rohde, he's actually the person who started the term sketchnote. And I mean, if you think about it, sketchnoting has been around since the beginning of time when the cavemen were drawing doodles on, on rocks, on the walls. So it's been around forever, but Mike Rohde created his sketchnote army, and basically he says that if you can draw these 5 elements, you can draw. And in the classroom I like to say, put your finger up, can you draw a circle, a square, a triangle, a line, and a dot? Because if you can do those 5 things, then you can draw. So basically he says that it's all about the ideas and not the art. It's not about perfection. All it is about getting those thoughts and ideas down into the page. And the way that you can start to do that is to take a look at shapes. And these images down here are images of a house, a car, a coffee mug. If you can take a look at shapes and then break them, or images, and break them down into its most basic shapes, then you can start to see those things in more simply in a way that you can start to draw. So through this presentation, I have some games that I like to play just to, get our creative brain working. So I have this one that's called, oops, let me go back. My mouse is very sensitive and I can't even get to this. Hold on. Okay, now let me get this shape sketch. So I put a lot of these resources out on Google Slides. So if you are doing distance learning, then you can just share a link to slides with your students, and they can, I mean, we're playing it over Zoom, but you can give them a link and they can try it themselves. But I created a wheel on this site, Wheel Decide. And so I'm gonna spin the wheel. And if now you get out your drawing utensil and a piece of paper. The way that this works is I'm gonna spin and then I'll start the timer. Well, I'll probably time on my phone. And I want you to try and draw as many objects as you can using the shape that I land on. So let me spin this wheel. Ooh, diamond. I can't even see where the pointer is, but diamond. So I want you to take a minute. Let's see, let me grab my paper too. I'll draw along with you. And draw as many images as you can with a diamond. So actually, I can start it in here. All right, there's our minute. Okay, if I can figure out how to stop this. There we go, that stops it. Okay, so I don't know if anybody is brave enough to share what they were able to draw in a minute. Yay, Abby, okay. Let's see, I don't know, your image is disappearing into, and here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the share so that I can maybe see you a little bit better. There we go, awesome. That's really cool, because did anybody else draw any similar shapes to what Abby drew? Oh, cool. Did you draw a kite too, Abby? Awesome. Oh, yay, I love it. Everybody's showing their drawings. Okay. Butterfly, wow, that is super creative. This is what I love about sharing sketches. Yay, thanks, Jen. I see that. Let me see. Can you see mine? Oh, I have a baseball diamond. I got a kite like some of you. Box. There you go. So that's a fun activity to do, just to get yourself, drawing, keep your pencil moving. It doesn't matter if your images are perfect. And the thing is that the more that you practice, the quicker you're going to get with your drawings, and you won't actually be thinking about it as much. So thank you for participating and being brave enough to share. So let me go back to sharing my screen.
I want to reiterate that practice makes faster drawing, and I've witnessed it through just observing Jenna. I mean, when she does a sketch note, it is so fast. And I can't believe how quickly she comes up with, some really detailed sketches for her when she's taking notes at like a conference or a training or something. It's like, looks like just second nature for her.
Well, definitely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I drew 5 items in a minute, but if it takes you a minute just to draw 1 or 2 items the very first time, that's okay. That's your starting point, and then the more that you practice, it just gets easier and easier from there. Okay, so let's see. Now, here's my food for thought. How did you feel about drawing as a child, and compare that with your thoughts about drawing today? What might be some reasons for that change? Does anybody want to share how they feel about drawing today and how that maybe compares to how you felt?
Yeah, I can share.
Okay.
I think I was never very confident in my drawing when I was younger, but I love to doodle and sketch and things like that, and I feel fairly confident in my sketching abilities. So I think when I draw something freehand, I'm not as confident. So.
Yes, great. Thanks for sharing. I
I
definitely was a doodler too. Barb, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've always loved drawing. Growing up, everything I've always loved drawing. The one thing, because I'm trying to do it on my Sketchnote iPad right now, the one challenge I think for me, there are two challenges. One is just different on a digital tool than on a paper and pencil.
Mhm.
With paper and pencil, I can like sketch and do a little erasing and kind of do light marks and then draw over them, make them darker. Whereas on Sketchnote, I know you can go back, but like I couldn't like erase something earlier. I don't think, right?
It depends on what app you're using. But yeah, some apps definitely have some limitations, or yeah.
So April brings up two interesting things. She's wanting to fuel her daughter's love for drawing. Yay. And the second, there's misconception that doodling is not note-taking for some teachers. And so that's a barrier for seeing sketchnoting as productive note-taking.
Definitely. I mean, I connect to all those doodlers out there because I used to doodle, but I never used to doodle about whatever topic the person was talking about. Now, if you can get your students who are those doodlers to listen to what you're saying and then take those ideas and then translate them into doodles on their page, that's where the power of sketch notes are. It's really being able to take those thoughts and ideas and synthesize them in a way that makes sense on a page. So yes, I'll recommend some digital apps at the end, but actually first, Abby, what were you using for yours since you use?
I'm using Adobe Draw, which is free.
Yes, Adobe Draw and Adobe Sketch, they're both free mobile apps, and you get a lot with them. I started out with Sketch and did everything on Sketch, but then I moved over to Draw because they have a really easy fill tool on Draw. So, and then I do have a bigger list of digital apps for sketchnoting, and then I'll add them to my show notes. So, there you go. And then my tip number 2 is to model bad drawing. I mean, I know sometimes when I try and post to Twitter, you always think about, oh, everybody's going to see it. I want it to be my best work. But in the classroom, I really think that it's so important that you model to students that you're not afraid to just draw anything, to try drawing anything in front of them. So, I mean, I just a little bit talked about it, but adding an image to your notes will really increase the memory recall. So in Wendy Pilar's book, she cites the statistic that just by adding visuals to your notes, you're increasing that memory retention by 55%. So there's a real benefit to just making those connections and adding visuals with words on the page. And so for me, it was really hard to let go of perfection because, I'm a perfectionist in a lot of ways. But as soon as I let go of that, it really allowed me to become a faster sketcher. And, I found that modeling in front of students really gives them that freedom to really feel like they can just draw anything and that it doesn't have to be perfect. Because ultimately, being able to explain what you draw is what's most important. And so these are a couple of sketches that I did in front of students. The one over here on the left is what I did with fifth grade students, and they were doing geometry and we were talking about shapes, and I had them draw things to help them remember some of the vocabulary. and I just drew this. I mean, some of the drawings, I'm not even sure. I'm like, I think this is an octopus. It almost looks like a rabbit with many legs. But you know, now I'm not afraid to do these kinds of drawings in front of students. This drawing down here is one that I did with 4th grade students. They were reading an article in social studies, and we were sketchnoting our thoughts together. So people, you can just use stick people. I think I had the biggest holdup with drawing people, but when somebody told me that, you know, drawing stick people is perfectly okay, that just gave me a lot of freedom and to really be able to put people on the page and not be afraid of it. So my food for thought for this section is, we all hear teachers say, do your best work. So how do you think students might respond to telling them quick drawings and words only, don't worry about perfection? Or if you were a student, how would you respond to that?
I can go ahead and share, because I've tried to do a lot of, when I was in the classroom, I would ask the students to do a lot of drawing in their science notebooks and such. And I think some just freeze because they want it to be perfect, or they think they can't draw, or they think they're not artists. And I just have to tell them, it's okay. I'm not grading the art, and it's, you know, I'm not grading how well it's done. I just want to see what your thinking is and put it on paper. So.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
You know what's interesting is we've had these conversations about growth mindset and fixed mindset for a few years now. But I think people have this idea that when artists, and this isn't about art, right? Sketchnoting isn't about art, but when artists create, that they're creating like perfectly all the time. But when you talk to an artist, they're drawing all the time. They're drawing or painting or whatever their medium is 3 to 5 hours a day. And they're not, they're not doing perfect work all the time. And so I don't really know where I'm going with this, but, you know, just this idea that we still need to like tell adults, kids, that whatever your aim is in this, to be perfect or to be a good artist or to be a good sketchnoter, it takes a ton of practice. And it takes a lot of messing up.
Yeah, I like that thought. And I think what I was thinking about when I made this was, I went into a 2nd grade classroom and did sketchnoting. And I just told them that, you know, it's all about your ideas, not the art. And at the very end, right before I left, the teacher asked, you know, the class to say, well, what are you thankful for? And one of the students raised his hand and said, I am just thankful that you gave me permission to just draw anything, and to draw quickly. And he just really loved being able to sketch and not have to worry about perfection. So that really told me a lot, and it was just amazing. I think I'm definitely gonna do a part 2 to this, and I'm definitely gonna share some of the student work that I have, because some of the things that came out of just teaching students how to sketchnote for the first time have just been truly amazing. Okay, so I have my very last tip, and that tip is to increase your visual library. So just like that first activity where you got a chance to take a shape and turn it into different images, the more that you have practice drawing something, then that's going to just increase your visual library. Now let me give you an example. The most frequently used icon in my sketch notes is a light bulb. And I use the light bulb for many things. It could be, you know, an idea. something that's really important, something that I really want to highlight. So once you have your library of icons, you can take your words and you can use them in many ways. So one of the resources that I have here is the Noun Project. Whenever I'm trying to do a sketch note and I'm really stuck, I don't know I don't know what word or what image will go with that word, I either do a Google search, Google image search, but I really like to search the Noun Project. Can somebody give me a word that I can possibly search for on the Noun Project? It doesn't have to be an easy one. We can try and see. Let's see.
Amazing.
Okay, amazing. See, and just by saying amazing, just seeing that image, that quick image of a person with stars in their eyes, that gives me a really good idea of how I can do it. And then it shows me, oh wait, I can draw an emoji for that. So here are some ideas. A diamond, that might be a simple shape. Thumbs up. So this is a great place for me just to get those quick, simple images for me to build up my visual library. So I definitely use the Noun Project a lot. And I know, Barb, you're using your iPad. One thing that I like to do, and you definitely actually could do this with paper and pencil over a device, but tracing is a way that I build up my visual library. I might find a picture of a lion and then put it in the background and then trace over it. Once I trace over it one time, the second time that I draw a lion without it behind it, it's gonna be easier. And the funny thing is I can trace over the same image as Abby, and our lions are gonna look completely different. So the more that you just do it, you're actually gonna end up finding your own drawing style, and it'll just come out through practice. And then my last bullet point here is that, oh, well, I did already talk about it, that one image can represent many words. And so the activity that I'm gonna go to is this images to words. So this is the last one. Ugh, my mouse is so sensitive. Okay, here, let's try this. This time you're actually not gonna draw anything. And these slide presentations, if you can share this with students and have them practice. If you sent a link in Google Classroom or sent a link to it in Seesaw or any of the management systems that you're using. So this one, you're just gonna look at the image and you're gonna write down as many words that can be associated with that image. So let's see. And we talked about light bulbs, so I'm gonna just do this image. So on your piece of paper, go ahead. I'm gonna start this 30-second timer. Write as many words as you can. Okay, there's 30 seconds right there. So does anybody want to share a word that they came up with? And yeah.
Morning.
Morning. I got that one too. Anything else?
Comfort.
Comfort. Ooh, I didn't get that one. I did get cozy. That's a good one.
I said necessary.
Necessary. Awesome. Let's see. I have, well, the obvious ones, right? It could be coffee, could be tea. I put wake up, I put caffeine, and then I put warm. Does anybody have anything different? Okay, so that's just a quick, easy activity that you can do with students. right? You just show them an image, and then they're also building their vocabulary too. So if you show them an image, something related to something that they're studying about, you know, you can get these huge long vocabulary lists going. So I just have a bunch of images here, but you can definitely just take your own images or take images from the Noun project and put them in. So this presentation is free for you to use and, you know, modify for your needs. But here's a way that I would do this with students if I'm doing it for distance learning. I put them on this Padlet, and then I wrote down some of the words that I thought of, and then other people added their own words to it. So I definitely like using Padlet or something like this to share, you know, thoughts and ideas in a distance learning type of a situation. So I'm not going to go through these, but I have links to all these presentations for the sketchnoting basics. So you can also use any of these slide presentation as practice for any of those sketchnoting basics. So for this question, I was just thinking about how do you normally take notes? And after this, what is something that you can do to add some sort of visual component to your notes?
I can go ahead, and I'm always writing everything down and just all the phrase or, you know, keywords and phrases that I hear or see, or, you know, on slide presentations, or I take pictures of slides. So now I think if I add a little more visual connected to the word, you know, like you said, it'll, you know, sink in a little bit better.
Yeah. Is there anybody out there who likes to type their notes? I mean, I have to say, before I did sketchnoting, I would always just mindlessly type notes into the computer. And then I would try and type every single word that I heard. But the problem is that I rarely ever went back to my notes. Sometimes I would if I would make a point to link it to certain sites that people were talking about. But besides that, you know, typing, the actual physical act of typing it's so similar that you don't really, you're not making these extra connections in your brain that are making the connections between what you're actually writing and, you know, what's going on. So if you're physically writing things, that actually helps you even more than taking notes on the computer. So I hope that after today you find at least one new visual component that you can add to your notes, or maybe share with students to add to their notes. And I have lots of resources in my show notes. I also have a link to Mo Williams' lunch doodles that he does. They're pretty cute. And then I have, let's see, I haven't checked it out, but Sylvia Duckworth did a presentation at Spring Q, and I linked to that. So that is definitely something that I wanted to get to. And so I've linked to that as well. So let's see. Oh, I see in the chat, cool way to build academic language and a great new way to process notes beyond highlighting. Yeah, definitely. So I think that sketch notes are a really fun way. And I mean, in this time of distance learning, you know, you might as well give your students something fun and creative to do with any of the content that you're giving them. So let's see. With that, I just wanted to let you know that a lot of these activities are also in the course that I wrote, Sketchnoting, Making Thinking Visible. So if you have extra time, it's free. And if you do need a unit, I think, how much are we charging? Or is UOP charging for a unit, like $80?
Yes, they're $80.
Yeah, so if you needed a unit, this is actually my favorite course. a lot of fun to do, and there's a lot of classroom connections. So there's that. And then Barb is here, and tomorrow I'll be there with her as she leads her Designing a Digital Reading Lesson webinar. So super excited about that. And Barb, did I get the time right? Is it at 3 o'clock?
No, it's actually at 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
I took over the 1 o'clock one. Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry. I will change that right after this. So 1 o'clock will be her her webinar. And if you have any questions, you can contact either Abby or myself, and we are happy to get back to you. And I just want to thank all of you for being here today. So
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
all right. Bye. Thanks for joining us.